stage, Dan Olson.
Okay, so let's take a little trip through the creative process here. So the original title of this talk was The Things That I Struggle With, which, is very draft, right? It gets something on the page, but it's really bland. So we need something snappier, more immediate, something to really highlight the personal nature of XOXO and bring the audience into the space, set their expectations. So let's just tighten it down as bare as we can go. All right, my struggles. Okay, that's better. That's better, but it doesn't capture my pretentious artsy nature. We need something more cosmopolitan. I know, what if it was in German? Oh, no. Okay, we can't do that. So I just changed it to envy. By way of introduction, I'm Dan Olson. I'm the producer, lead writer, lead editor, host, and social media manager for the Folding Ideas YouTube channel, which is to say, I'm a YouTuber. My channel, as many have, has undergone a slow transposition over the course of the 14 years I've been making videos online. It originated as a puppet show discussing media through the lens of narrative and has evolved into longer format documentary discussing scams, social movements, and history through the lens of narrative. I have a reputation for erudite, sober writing, so I get envious of creators who get to cut loose and just shitpost in their feature content. Doubly so for creators who are deft at doing both at the same time. A lot of my friends are really good at it, which is why sometimes I have a really hard time watching their stuff. So when I have the opportunity to just shitpost on stage, I take it. The thing I want to talk about today is envy, specifically professional envy, though also about challenges that I have with staying on task and how these things combine into a poison that for some reason I, like Romeo, guzzle down every 6 months. This is something I've struggled with for a really long time, and it kind of has for me two very distinct manifestations. The first is this really straightforward, I could do that. This music video for By Your Hands by Los Campesinos, this thing's amazing. But it's so simple. I could do that. I could do that. This one shot from Glare by Sheepdog and Wolf, I could do that. Like this is just planning. It's planning and math and a 2400 millimeter lens, and I've got two of those things right here on stage with me. A really moody but detailed shot of the moon, I could do that. Joke's on you, I did do that. That one's mine. I saw someone on Reddit post their photo of the moon, so I built a rig out of a garbage telescope we got free with loyalty points from a Visa card just to prove to myself that I could. I see something that's good at what it does and it overlaps in some way with the matrix of things that I self-conceptualize as being good at, and I get really needlessly salty at no one in particular because I could have made that. I could have done that. So that's the lesser version. But then I have this habit where there's a whole collection of stuff I know in my bones is really good. So I warp my behavior around it. It took me 6 years to finish watching Idea Channel because every time I did watch it, I would get hung up for days or weeks on every little thing, from little production flourishes to the skill of the team at handling and integrating audience interactions to the show's brevity and focus. I saw the TV glow. This movie looks amazing. And I just know that if I watch it, I'm going to spend months seething over how good it is. I'm going to obsess over the camera work, the design choices, so I've avoided seeing it. And that's messed up, right? I'm avoiding watching something specifically because I know it'll be good. The Cosmonaut Trilogy by Philosophy Tube. Abby produced this absolutely stellar piece of theater that I made it about 4 minutes into before I had to stop because my brain was getting overwhelmed with this gnawing sense of inadequacy. Like, this is the kind of thing that I should be producing? What actually stands between me and a production of that complexity? This is the far, far more aggressive and pernicious version where my raging and numerous insecurities get the better of me. It's silly and it's dumb because, like, really, what's the risk here? Okay, so here who has seen Mamoru Hosoda's Belle? Animated film, got a theatrical run in North America early 2022. Few people, yeah. This film is probably one of the best films about online spaces because while the mechanics of how the tech works and is depicted is pure fantasy, the core of the film understands how and why online spaces functions the way that they do. It understands the appeal and uses metaphor to communicate the ways in which we emotionally engage with the digital. The film is largely about an online virtual reality space, up in the upper left, somewhere unreal, fantastical, visually energized. However, the movie isn't just about how cool the digital world is, it's about how the digital isn't a mystery parallel universe, but an extension of the real world, a medium through which we, flesh and blood, engage, express, and conceptualize ourselves. I love this movie. I saw it 4 times in theaters, twice in English, twice in Japanese. It is far from perfect, but it triggered this intense creative longing in me. The filmmakers chose to pair this fantasy environment with an extremely real, grounded, but no less beautiful real world. And to do this, they didn't just place the film in a conceptualization or abstraction of the real world, but actually placed it in the geography of its setting. Okay, so Belle takes place in Kochi Prefecture in southern Japan on the island of Shikoku. The main character, Suzu, lives in a small village far enough away from her school that she needs to take a bus and a train from home, presented in a montage that depicts it as being quite time-consuming. Several major events in the film take place at an elementary school that's being converted into a general-purpose community center because there just aren't enough kids in the area to justify a school anymore. Quickly going through the plot here, all of these places are real. Most of them aren't named in the film, but the view from the XOXO submersible bridge matches the view of Suzu's village right down to the tree that the road bends around. Suzu's bus takes her to Ino Station where she boards a local train on the Dosan line where details down to the upholstery is correct. Not just the upholstery, the fact that there are multiple different styles of train that run on the line. I know this because I found a Japanese TV show sponsored by Japan Rail called Local Line Discovery Journeys, where 2 minor celebrities are paired up and given 2 days to travel a local rail line, and they not only have a 2-part episode on the Dosan line, but they stop at Ino Station. And isn't this just a brilliant format? The show is so improvisational that the flow frequently stops while the hosts go up to shopkeepers and ask for permission to film. Really, what have you got for a crew? You've got a camera operator, a producer, and a sound tech on a 2-day shoot. I could do that. Why am I not doing something like that? Look at the variety of what you get to do. It's fun, it's simple, it's straightforward. It's a format made for YouTube. So I spend about a week just poring over every little detail about this space in southern Japan that I've never been to, looking at annual temperature and precipitation graphs, crawling block by block on Street View to identify locations, drafting up hypothetical plans for a whole new radical shift in format and formula, trying to formulate a thesis around the film's use of space and the groundedness of its locations as a way to justify a trip to Kochi, which it turns out is a very reasonably priced vacation destination. All in an attempt at grappling with this deep sense of creative inadequacy that the movie triggered in me. And by the way, this is all happening while I'm supposed to be putting the finishing touches on a video that I'm already 8 months deep on. And this video, by the way, it is just massive walls of information that I've been cutting and cutting and cutting to get tuned up so that it doesn't bore people to tears, and it's just hours of my stupid face alone against a blank wall. This is never going to inspire people. It's never going to trigger emotional response in others the way that Belle has triggered a response in me. What am I even doing here? Just to not leave that story dangling, I did manage to slump that video across the finish line several weeks late. I think a few of you here may have even seen it. It's called Line Goes Up, The Problem with NFTs. So I am well aware that this is a problem inside me, that I get derailed by my creative envy, and that at certain points in the creative process, I'm more vulnerable than at others. If I'm solidly between projects, then that's really not even getting derailed, right? That's just, the process of finding the next thing. That's looking for what 30-year-olds call inspo. But once a project is underway, that's getting dangerous, because maybe it means some visual flair gets worked in and it's all good, or maybe it means the whole thing ends up a jumbled mess of inspirations and really just needs to be rebuilt, right? The real hazard zone is the finishing gulch. I've been working on a thing for weeks at best, realistically months. Every clever line is stale. Every interesting fact that first pulled me into the story is something that I've just known for ages at that point. This is the zone where I just know that I'm going to get derailed, that I'm going to lose a week, 2, 3, a month to fantasy project planning, to dreamy hypotheticals. And in that state, I can't watch other people's things. And I hate that. So this is a thing that I struggle with, but really it's even more complicated than that because it's multimodal, right? It's not just like, oh, I get envious and then I lock myself in a room being mad. I get envious and then I lock myself in a room trying to prove to myself that I could do that too. So it taps into my instinct to always be trying new things, always be challenging myself to stretch my craft, always be just a little bit dissatisfied with what I'm doing so that the next thing is better. That's good. But that isn't a clean process either. So last year, I was working on a big video about finance cults, and I convinced myself that this was going to be the one. This was when I was going to bring a level of production complexity to the stage that would truly satiate this morass of envy. The problem is that the cart was leading the horse. I was doing fancy, difficult shots purely for the sake of doing fancy, difficult shots. They weren't motivated by anything, they weren't in service of a thematic point, and the end result was a lot of effort for a video that was fundamentally broken. I was being steered by envy and my other great sin, impatience. This was actually almost exactly a year ago. I premiered it, I published a draft to Patreon. And then, your patrons are your kindest, most generous audience you're ever going to get. And so when they come back like, well, I really enjoyed listening to your voice. It really seems like you're having fun. I don't really get it, but it's nice. That's when you sit back and go like, oh no, it's busted. So I had a little crisis about it. I had to take the rest of August off, accept that hey, did I just waste a whole bunch of time? Yes. Okay. Just, what do you do now? You start over. And so went and just fixed the problems and basically rebuilt 2/3 of the video. So in the end, I had to take weeks off, reshoot it. Envy, impatience, they're the monster I struggle with, but they are ultimately a part of me. They make up part of my ambition, my hunger to better myself, my thirst for excellence. If I killed them entirely, I would kill some fundamental part of what drives me to make things. So really, they just need to be kept under control. Like the Babadook, I need to keep them chained up in my basement. At least I think that's how that movie ended. I don't know, I didn't see it. It looked really good.
Thank you, Dan.